I am taking on the most terrifying rides in Disney World, and I have to keep my heart rate down while I'm doing it. I am a total scaredy cat all the time with everything. No, don't say anything! This is going. So when it comes to Disney World, anytime there's really exciting rides or really high rides, I get pretty nervous. Today I'm going to be riding some of the most thrilling and surprisingly scary rides here in Disney World, plus some that are not so scary. My success or failure at keeping my heart rate down will show you what the most thrilling rides in Disney World are, whether you are a thrill seeker, wondering how intense a ride might be, or a bit of a scaredy cat like me. The catch? If I can't keep my heart rate down, I have to find somewhere to get wet, and I hate getting soaked. Okay, for my first ride of the day, I'm gonna go on Slinky Dog Dash. It is a coaster here at Hollywood Studios that's pretty kid-friendly. You do need to be at least 38 inches tall to ride, but this one's tons of fun, and it's probably gonna spike my heart rate. I just checked my heart rate, and it was like low 70s, but that's a little weird because I've been checking it throughout the day this morning, and it's been sitting at about the 90s. Like my just resting heart rate has been in the 90s. So this is gonna be almost a test ride. If my heart rate spikes like crazy, I don't have to dump water on my head. But we're gonna see how this one goes, and then we're gonna adjust for the rest of the rides. Okay, I just got off of Slinky Dog Dash. My heart rate was an average of 105. That's pretty darn high. If this wasn't a test run, I would have to go get a glass of water and just put it on my head. Just dump a half glass of water on my head. But this was a test run. Next up though is Tower of Terror. And it's gonna be bad, and I'm just gonna have to dump water on my head, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. I will say though, Slinky was a ton of fun. I do not think Slinky is scary. I think it's very enjoyable. It's a really smooth coaster. I will also say though, there was a little kiddo sitting behind me who did not enjoy it. It was a little bit too high off the ground for her, and it went a little bit too fast. So if your kiddos haven't really experienced a lot of coasters, maybe be wary with this one, but I also think it's a good first family coaster. Okay, it is time for arguably one of my least favorite rides in Disney World. So the Tower of Terror is a drop ride here in Disney World that takes you into the Twilight Zone. It's easily one of the most popular rides here in Hollywood Studios, and if you're like me and you have a fear of heights, this one's pretty intense. It's pretty jarring. So it takes you up pretty high and then it will drop you, and what really gets me is that you're not actually just dropping, Disney is pulling you down. That's why you go so fast. So this one's gonna be pretty interesting, and I'm already thinking about where I have to go get my half cup of water. Okay, well, we are in the boiler room, and my heart rate went to 135 walking to the line. Happened because the heart rate monitor said I had a heartbeat of 80, like full steady for the whole 4.5 minutes that I was on the ride. 80. And I will say, like, this thing is crazy sensitive. Like, Quincy has tested it before she even gave it to me. I've tested it several times today, and it said 80, which is actually a drop from what I had before I started. Okay, for my next thrilling ride, weirdly enough, I am going on Star Tours, which I will say, Rock and Roller Coaster is closed at the time of filming. Star Tours is a virtual 3D simulation ride that takes you into the world of Star Wars. And what is really cool about this one is it's kind of a different scenario almost every single time. You can get a bunch of different options, but for me, I think this one's actually pretty thrilling because it does shake you around quite a bit, and because of the 3D glasses, a lot of people actually get pretty sick on this one. So a lot of people can't ride this ride, and I get why. So let's see if the heart rate spikes. Just hopped off of Star Tours. So that one, I have to say, I really expected my heart rate to go a little bit higher just because it jars you around, and sometimes the 3D can just throw you a bit, okay? I know in the past, like if I've not been feeling well and then I get on Star Tours, it has made me sick before. My heart rate was an average of 98, which just before I walked in, my resting was showing about 99. So I'll take that. I'm cool with that. I will say though, I am trying to very intentionally keep my heart rate down. Like I am like closing my eyes, and it was like jostling me, and I was like trying really hard. So this probably wouldn't be the exact same numbers if I wasn't intentionally trying to stay calm, but I just want to prove a point to myself, and I also really don't want to dump a cup of water on my head. So I'm doing what I can to avoid that punishment, because I know Sage came up with it, and that's just, he did me dirty there. So I have made my way over to Galaxy's Edge for our final ride here in Studios, and that is Smuggler's Run. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run is a simulation ride where you get to actually be the pilot or engineer or gunner of the Millennium Falcon. So the thing about this one is it can be pretty thrilling. You have to actively participate within the ride, and if you're not doing things at the right time, your score might lower. So like this is something, my heart rate normally, like I feel my heart start beating fast if like it's my turn to do something. More than likely I will be a gunner in the back, but we're gonna see how this goes. That made my heart rate spike. I did not think it would be this one, and I got up to 105 beats per minute, which is 30 more than I started with when I was at my resting before I got on. So I need to go find a cup of water. This one is actually, in my opinion, pretty thrilling. The pilots on mine were having a little bit of a hard time, so we were really jostled the entire ride. I mean, there were things that I didn't even know we could hit that we hit this time, and that's okay. You know, sometimes you're just not going to have great pilots. I'm not a great pilot. Well, it was inevitable that it happened, but it was so much more embarrassing than I thought it would be, because even in areas where I know what effort is, a whole family just watched me do that, and I hated every single second of it. Okay, so that does it for Studios. I made it through 3 more rides than I thought I would make it through without having to pour a cup of water on my head. I was surprised that Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run was the one that got me, but we have quite a few rides to get over in Magic Kingdom, so let's head that way. Alright, I officially made it to Magic Kingdom. Our first ride of the day is going to be Space Mountain, which luckily I have a lightning lane for. If you haven't had the chance to check out Space Mountain yet, Space Mountain is an indoor roller coaster that takes you through space. So it's really dark, and it's an older roller coaster, so it's pretty bumpy. A lot of people say it's really jarring. I know that Quincy and Sage both have said it kind of throws them around quite a bit, and I have to agree with that. So it's not everyone's favorite, even though it is my favorite. We're going to see how this makes me feel. I'm going to check my pulse while we're resting, and then we're going to give it a shot. Also, Space Mountain has issued a rule within the last few months that you no longer can have loose items out, so I will not be filming on this ride, but I am here. Okay, I just hopped off of Space Mountain. So I will say, luckily, I'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. Luckily, my heart rate dropped. That's very comforting to me. It was about 138 beats per minute on average, like throughout the ride, which I will say, that one I sat in the back, I was in the very last row, and it's definitely more jarring back there. It's a lot more bumpy, and it's wild, and part of the lights were on today, so I could see a lot of the track, which is actually incredibly scary. I have not got to do that in a while where the track was on. You can just see a lot more, and you realize how close the tracks are to each other. So that was terrifying, but we made it out, and that's comforting. And frankly, I'm not shocked that my heart rate dropped. I actually was hoping, praying that my heart rate would drop. That one I think is really thrilling for a lot of people because it is inside and it is so bumpy. And I think, you know, if you're not open to that, maybe be cautious about this one. So one thing I think I am discovering about myself today is that I'm high-strung. I normally feel pretty calm, but apparently my heart completely disagrees because it's been pretty high over the average of the entire day. So frankly, I want to see Quincy or Sage or Fry or Breedlove do this because I want to know if something's, you know, wrong with me, or I want to know if I'm just able to maintain the same level of calmness, and I wonder if they could do it. All right, so this next one is just for me. It's just for some giggles. So Dumbo the High Flying Elephant is a high in the sky Dumbo flying ride, and it's scary for pretty much no one except for me. Sometimes I have a fear of heights most of the time, and so sometimes when Dumbo tilts the wrong way, it does stress me out. I have learned to get over it more now that we have to ride this all the time for work, but I still have my moments where I don't really love it. So for kicks and giggles, I'm gonna ride Dumbo and see if it does anything. All right, here we go. My heart rate is already up. Oh, only 1 beat per minute, so maybe we'll do okay. We've not started. Okay, for posterity, I'm gonna make Dumbo fly all the way to the top. Oh gosh, and I am sliding. I don't enjoy this part. Okay. So I can proudly say that my heart rate stayed the same at 113, which is still crazy. That's not normal. It's not the normal heart rate, but that's what mine is right now. Despite the fact that I feel eerily calm, I don't know. That one I will honestly say I don't think anyone should be scared of it. It's not super thrilling. It's not very scary. This one is more just to poke fun at my own small fear of heights. If you have a fear of smaller, more realistic heights, like when I say realistic, like I could realistically see myself falling out of Dumbo, that's what scares me. If you have that same weird fear like I do, maybe you'll be scared of Dumbo, but 99% of people, you'll be fine. Up next on our terrifying rides list is the Astro Orbiter. So in my opinion, this is the most underrated scary ride in all of Disney World. This one is my personal enemy, and mainly that is because of the height issue. So Astro Orbiter is actually a Dumbo-esque spinning ride that is on top of the People Mover. So it's pretty darn high, and I think that makes it terrifying.
To make your rocket ship fly higher, pull back on the control lever in front of you. To descend, just push the control lever forward. Thank you. Ship stops, then follow the arrows for the flight. Welcome back, pilots. Stop, guys. All your followers had today. This is a wonderful day. Thank you.
Okay, so I started that one with a 123 heart rate. That's what it was in line, and it did get all the way up to 140, but I technically don't have to go get wet, because if I had gotten up to 143, I would have, but I still was below that 20 beats per minute goal, that change. So I'm good. I don't have to do it. I hate this ride. Still, for my being, it won't change. I hate it. It's way too high, in my opinion. I think it's the scariest ride in Disney World. I could ride Tower more than I would ride this. And what really gets me is the descent down. You are flying. Like, it gets fast. It's not like a slow descent. You literally, like, I had to hold on. Hate this ride. If you even have a semi-fear of heights, I think you should be cautious with this. I think you should be cautious with this one. It's just too much. And that's all I have to say about it. I won't change my opinion about this one. I hate astro orbiters. Okay, friends, we are back in Storybook Circus to try out the Barnstormer. This is with Goofy as the Great Goofini, and it is a outdoor coaster that is really family friendly. You'll need to be 35 inches tall to ride. And even though it is super family friendly, this one can go a lot faster than people expect. And it's also a lot jerkier. So I think that's why it's thrilling. We're gonna see if our heart rate spikes. Here we go. I forgot to take my hat off. My heartbeat was 113 while I was standing in line. So I better hold on. I'm so scared for my hat. So I actually really like that ride. I think it's really fun first coaster for a lot of people. It is a lot faster than you would think though, and it is pretty bumpy. So I think for a lot of younger kiddos or maybe first time coaster riders, it can be pretty thrilling, pretty scary. I don't know that I would say terrifying, but I'm not surprised that my heart rate spiked just a little. That makes sense to me. Yeah, overall, good coaster. And not surprised. Alright, we have made it to the Haunted Mansion. So the Haunted Mansion is a dark ride where you get to ride through a literal haunted mansion. They have 999 happy haunts, but there's always room for 1,000. Now this one, I know, can be a little nerve-wracking for kiddos before we get started or before they've ever been on it, but rest assured it is more silly and spooky than truly scary. Okay, so let's talk about our findings from today. So the only ride that truly raised my heart rate was Smuggler's Run, and I think that shows I'm a little bit more of an anxiety person than a fear person. On that ride, it's relatively chill, but I had to do a job, quote unquote, and that kind of made my heart rate spike. Also, Astro Orbiter did, but of course it did. For all of the quote, scary rides, my heart rate was high before I even got on the ride, so it didn't go up much while I was on it. So maybe next time we compare my heart rate on these rides to my baseline heart rate before I even start the challenge. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And now if you want to see more challenges on our channel, you can go check out Fry Bucket's No Sleep Challenge up now on the channel.